509 Restorations here. Just wanted to do a touch, I'm doing that battle born brakes, Super Duty axle conversion. This is the front drag link for the steering gear, and the total length of this needs to be 32 inches per the instructions, and my ends were just a little bit longer than the last kit I did, so I had to cut this a little shorter than 26 7/8 as the instructions show, but the length should be a total of 32 inches. And just make sure you get a good weld there, and it's not very difficult to do. Just wanted to touch base with that. Yeah, the other day I showed this project, which is my 1971 F100 heavy duty special. That is a pretty rare truck in my book. I've not been able to find very many heavy duty specials. There really aren't. There weren't a lot made, and because it's an F100, it's not as desirable. But personally, I think it's very desirable. It's got the thicker frame, like the 3/4 ton does, and it's a good strong truck. This one has a 360 and a C6 from the factory. I most likely will be changing that out. I haven't decided if I'm going to coyote swap it or go with a 460. I've got a little bit of time to decide. This is the Battleborn buckets for the Super Duty conversion. These are the drop version, which are 3 inches higher overall from right here up to here, to bring the axle closer so it runs more of a stock size tire of a high boy. So a 33 inch tire is going to be at home here perfectly. This is a 2006 F250 Super Dana 60 front. I've got new dust covers for it, new bearings, and new seals and everything for it. This gets removed, this piece here. That's where the new drag link goes in, and so there's a new Moog, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but tie rod end that goes in here and ties the actual steering tie rod to the drag link up to the steering box. I just finished welding this in. This was probably, I personally think, the most difficult part of the conversion. Is getting the Super Duty 2005 on up Super Duty gearbox, steering gearbox. My frame didn't have the hump here, as some of the Ford frames do. 67 to 72s generally don't have this hump. It's the later model years, in the 73s to 79 bump sides, not bump sides, but dent sides that have that hump, but not all of them. Anyway, so you have to notch your frame just a little bit right here in order to weld this sleeve in, and then put this plate on. Now I got a really good weld all the way around. It welds to the frame, the engine cross member there. It's not that difficult. Mine was a little different in that this plate lined up perfectly up top and against the engine cross member back here and right here, but as soon as my frame starts to drop down, it ended right here. And so I had a 3/4 inch 3/16 plate that I put in here and welded that to give it some strength, so that's not going to have any problems. I think it would have been fine without doing this little plate in here, because of the solid weld back here, up there, all along here, and then tying everything together up here. So it turned out really nice. I'm very happy with it. I'd say, like I said, was probably the more difficult parts of the conversion, but not overly difficult, just time consuming. And there's the steering gearbox right down there. I have 3 or 4 of these steering gearboxes. This one's going to get cleaned up, and this whole frame's going to be finished. I'm going to wire wheel it all, and I'm going to put a rust killer on it, and then pour 15 and do the full process with pour 15 through the whole frame, including the Super Dana 60, and clean that all up, and it'll look real good. As I've touched base with this truck before, the one negative is the gentleman who owned it before me put some of this rubberized undercoating on, which I'm not a fan of, and has since started flaking off, and it's just causing some troubles. I have wire wheeled everything up to this point because this is going to be a lot easier to clean up back here. I'm actually going to sandblast most of this off and clean this all up. It's getting a Super Duty Sterling 10.5 inch back here out of the same year. It's actually out of the same truck, the 2006 that I pulled the F250 Super Dana 60 from. So that'll go back here. So it's going to have 4-wheel disc brakes, extreme stopping power, going with the Super Duty brake booster, master cylinder setup, new stainless brake lines and everything. This is going to be all nice. So the next couple of days, I'm going to have the steering gear out, the original steering gear, Super Duty swapped, booster, master cylinder, the frame all cleaned up and ready for some rust killer. I'll do some marine clean and some rust converter on it, and then pour 15 everything. But that won't be for another probably a month before I do all the frame. Once I get everything cleaned up, I got a lot of wire wheeling to do down here. I got most of the differential housing done, but just some areas that I need to clean up. Anyways, just want to touch base again. This is mainly for the Battleground Super Duty axle swap, the plate for the steering gearbox, the drag link that needed to be welded, and just kind of wanted to brainstorm and go over this project with y'all. I think it's going to be an awesome truck. It's going to be really solid, very heavy duty. I'm super excited about it. Yeah, before I put these buckets on, I cleaned up, killed the rust, wire wheeled, and put pour 15 behind it, so it's nice and solid. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. 509 Everett Restorations out.